Caylyn's roof is very white, everybody. For the Caylyn fandom.
Yeah, I'm keeping you in a strategic spot so I can keep my Wi-Fi connection going because I have like weird spots in my room where the connection is better than others. It's like cold spots when you live in a haunted house.
Seriously, I have spent a lot of time in that room and in that bed. That sounds saucier than it should be. I've just slept over there a lot, not with Caylyn, with other people. Which doesn't sound better either. Anyways, hi.
Thou art for the streets.
I am for the streets. I am a rat, but the streets wouldn't have me. Pa 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 pa.
Good day, and welcome to Two Girls, One Corset, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of period dramas, from bodice-ripping romance to scandalous court intrigue.
Ooh, I'm Mags, your resident historical costumer and hopeless romantic.
And I'm Caylyn, a public historian and self-proclaimed Bridgerton maiden. Despite my great passion for history and drama, I have yet to watch a single episode of Bridgerton.
And that is exactly what we're going to do on this podcast. Watch and review each episode of Bridgerton, giving you our unique perspectives on the characters' costume and historical intrigues.
So grab your corsets, boil yourself a cuppa, and join us as we take a trip back in time to Regency-era England with Two Girls, One Corset. Let's get started.
Yes! Okay, this was such a good episode. Today we're talking about episode 3 of Bridgerton. It was called... What the heck was it called? I wrote it down. It was called...
The Art of the Swoon.
Ooh, of course. Of course. And oh my gosh, we're starting it out steamy, aren't we, Caylyn?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The episode starts off with Daphne having a dream. She's at a dance, and it's a steamy dance.
Because not only are they dancing together, but he is pulling off her glove and then touching the top of her back with his bare fingertips.
They're just lingering in those few seconds before you kiss. And I'm just like that whole thing. Okay, so that is literally one scene in my book. I don't know what it is. Like, Outlander has done this to me. Like, Outlander is one of my favorite TV shows. And in episode 7, if you know, you know, the hottest thing about that episode is not sex. It's not Claire introducing Jamie to BDSM. It is them undressing each other. And after that, I just have a thing about, like, long stockings being pulled off and gloves. Is that just me?
No, it's very sexy, especially when you consider the context for the time of like how intimate that really is.
It is so intimate.
Like, it's nice. What can I say? I'm getting the giggles now.
Honestly,
Sean's done some really this really sweet thing for me before, like once or twice, where if we've been somewhere where I'm wearing heels but I bring a change of shoes, like we did this once after a museum trip where after walking around the gallery I decided I wanted to change into my flats outside of the gallery, and he like, it was those blue shoes, the one with the ribbons, and he like untied them for me and like slipped them off and everything, and it was really nice. He did the same for me once after our flight from hell, when we were going over for Christmas, and we finally got into a hotel room, and I was just so exhausted, and I was like crying because everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and on top of it I was like kind of sick as well, and so I just kind of like needed a moment, and I was just so tired. He like took my boots off for me and gave me a foot rub, like just the action, honestly, of like having somebody unlace your shoes.
Like, it like, the stockings and the shoes suit has nothing to do with, like, any foot fetish or anything. I don't know. It's just, like, the care. And just, I don't know. Like, it's something for me, especially about, like, men in stockings, that just sends my engine revving. Like, in my book, I've included that as well. Very much so. Freaking men in stockings. Bring it back, please. It's hot. Anyways, Daphne wakes up and she's very clearly hot and bothered, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, she's becoming more intrigued, more so with Simon's mannerisms, as we eventually see when they go to an ice cream shop together, and she is very transfixed by the way that Simon is licking the ice cream off of a spoon.
Who wasn't intrigued by him licking the ice cream off the spoon? mean, he was eating
Okay.
ice cream.
Oh, yes, he did that like very much in a specific way. I wonder, it makes you wonder if he was aware. I feel like you had to be aware. No one eats ice cream that sensually.
No, and have you seen, it was similar energy to have you seen that video of an eating competition of a guy? I don't know what it is that he's eating, honestly. I don't really care, but he's just like so tenderly eating this. I think it's a sandwich. Have you seen that video?
No.
Okay, I will have to send it to you, but there's essentially this like filming an eating competition and everybody's like going ham. I think it's sandwiches, it might be wrong. We will post it to our Instagram, dear listeners, because I have it saved. And then there's this man who just like really sensually, without knowing it, he has like a wife and 3 kids apparently, because people have looked him up now. And he's just eating this sandwich very sensually, and all the women in the comments are like, excuse me, sir.
That's so interesting to me because sandwiches don't strike me as like a sensual food.
Caylyn, let's just say it's tongue work. It's all about the tongue work.
How are you eating your sandwiches? Sandwiches are teeth work.
Not for this. I mean, I'm not too fussed about him winning the eating competition. Let's just say that.
Oh my goodness. But, that
Anyways.
reminds me of this plague. Yeah, this plague of like people trying to do like sexy cooking. Where they like rub the dough in a certain way and stuff.
The thing is, it's unintentional, and that's why it's hot. Like, you know, it's unintentional.
Okay, yeah, because when it's intentional,
he's just focused
it's creepy.
on eating this sandwich. It looks like it's the best sandwich he has ever had. Right. We also learn in a little whistle down, hand me down. That doesn't make sense. But she's just like dropping this information on us that those who marry in haste must repent at leisure. And Daphne has apparently rejected. We just see a montage of her rejecting a bunch of men, which is like me on dating apps every day. Although it's not marriage, it is can I have a foot pic? And I'm like, no, you can't. So I relate Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne has been moving swiftly. She's turned down 3 suitors in one go. Understandably, you know, being picky because she wants a good marriage.
Yeah, and I wonder what the reason might be that she is turning down all these good marriages. Can't be a reason. No. No. And it's not because someone is eating ice cream extremely sensually and like licking the ice cream spoon. Like, good lord. And it's really funny because she says something like, she snaps out of it. She's like, we must continue the ruse. And I basically wrote like what she thought was like, we must continue eating the ruse. It's like that whole entire exchange. But then we also continue hearing Lady Whistledown, and we learn that there's a prince that's coming to London. Woohoo! And he's from Prussia.
Indeed. I got excited for a second because I was like, is it perhaps like Alexander the First of Russia? Because when I first just saw like the screen cap of what the episode was going to be, I know, but before they even said anything, based on the screen cap, the prince that they have looks like a portrait of Alexander the First of Russia, and I was getting so excited because I think Alexander the First of Russia is so interesting. And then they went in and they were like Prussia, and I was like, oh. But
no,
this prince is cute too,
I
so
had like honestly, when I went to college, I was a history, like that was one of my majors, and I was mildly obsessed with Prussia and with Bismarck and that whole thing, so I was very excited. But then again, here's like someone who studied Germanic history and someone who has been studying Russian history. But yeah, so Penelope, we see her sitting in a window looking very, like, a lot of anticipation out, waiting for the mailman.
Yes, indeed, and she is assisting Marina in going through the mail to find a letter from her beloved.
Yes.
However, Mrs. Featherington is forbidding Penelope from visiting the expectant.
Which is, you know, fair enough. Honestly, that's what I felt like in this episode. Like, we're giving Mrs. Featherington a lot of trash, but also I kind of understand where she's coming from, but then it's, I don't know. Like, thinking of the time and the place kind of thing. I don't know. I have more on that later. But I must say that Marina, the dress she was wearing was just so delightful. I don't know if it's like the Featherington dresses are just hideous, and Marina is just like a breath of fresh air. We also find out that she is ready to enter society again. Well, ready. She has to enter society again because she must find a husband, which is Fair enough.
Yes.
And we see Daphne drowning in suitors, as per usual. And we cut very quickly to the first ball of the day, and it starts with Billie Eilish Bad Guy playing, which I think
our
find
Vitamin
pretty
String
funny.
Quartet coming in clutch.
Coming in clutch. But it's also really funny because I love this whole interaction where it's basically men coming in with like hot takes and Daphne's just not impressed. But I must say that Lord Weaver was really cute. The first guy she danced with. I wrote that. I was like, dang. And it's also so funny in this little interaction when Lord Weaver is asking Daphne to dance. You can see so clearly how the Duke is putting on such a ruse because there's a girl who's like working up the courage to go up and ask him to dance. So the Duke just loudly exclaims, "Must I share your attention with every moon-eyed dandy?"
Yes, he does a really great job. You can tell he enjoyed that in particular a lot.
I think he was just desperate to not have to dance with any of the other young maidens, which is kind of a rude thing, because when you're at a ball, you should be dancing.
Yeah, but I feel like he does enjoy teasing Daphne a bit at this point too. So
he does.
I'm sure he had fun with that.
And I did enjoy the little military-esque dirty talk they had.
I know. I was like, this is steamy. This is, potential roleplay material.
It's like, if you do your job, I make you the general. It's like, Daphne, do you even know what you're talking about? Like,
you look so good in a uniform, General. Oh my gosh.
It makes me want a hot dog real bad.
Oh gosh. But these dances with the suitors are very reminiscent of church dances that I would go to growing up.
I literally had to write down the quote.
The awkward conversations.
Isn't it the truth? Men not knowing what they want. Seriously, because there was one guy who was like Daphne's like, so would you like kids? Do you like the country? Do you like the city? And he's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I have no opinions. Which isn't this the truth?
He's never
like
thought
people
about it.
Oh my gosh. I need an okay. I need a soft yet opinionated person in my life. 'Cause I'm opinionated. If I get to just have my opinions all over someone, that's gonna be the end of that. But then it was the next guy. He was talking about my ancestral home is quite big, bigger than the others in the area, which I thought was so funny. Is that a dick joke or what is it?
Oh, come on. Obviously.
My ancestral home. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on. How big is your ancestral home?
But circling back to the guy with no opinions on anything, I get so uncomfortable around people that have never felt the pressure to develop a personality.
Yeah, and it's so real. It's so real. Where it's like, I hate, there's on Bumble, you don't have to go through this, but on Bumble there's this relationship type you can make that is like, I don't know. But really, that is just the polite way of saying, I just want to sleep with women and that's about it. Or men or non-binaries, whatever. That's literally what it is. But they won't say it out loud, which is just I almost think that's ruder than just putting I want something casual. Because then at least they're honest. Because I don't know. That's such a red flag.
Yeah.
Freaking know what you want. What are you doing on a dating app if you don't know? Gosh. Anyways, hi.
But yeah. If you haven't had to develop a humor-based coping mechanism to deal with your difficulties in life, I don't know if I can be friends with you.
Seriously. But then there was another quote that just had me laughing out loud. And it was, my mother and I are exceptionally close. After I marry, my mother shall reside with me and my bride. And Daphne's like, how does your father feel about that? And he's like, it was my father's idea.
Boy moms are definitely becoming a trend in this series, but I loved that bit. That had me wailing.
It was so funny. And then I love what she says. She said, I felt more chemistry being fitted at the modiste. Which is is our little Daphne a little bit bi-curious? I'm just kidding.
I know. Go queen.
Yes.
We love a bi-curious queen.
I can see that. And oh my gosh, then we're introduced to the prince. And I must say, I am
Yeah.
okay, this is like unpopular opinion about romance novels. I am such a sucker for a
Mm-hmm.
blonde. Like people don't understand blondes. I feel okay, I sound like this sounds very
No,
suspicious and please
blondes?
don't take this out of context. But blondes are so pretty bad.
Blondes get done dirty a lot
They do.
in romantic context because everybody wants the dark brooding guy who
Yeah.
hates everyone but you. But the second a blonde golden retriever walks into the narrative, you know that he's not going to get the love that he deserves.
Honestly, like blonde I was okay, so I didn't like the first Akatar book, A Court of Thorn and Roses book that much. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the beginning, I was so excited about a blonde love interest. I was like, heck yes. It's not like this generic love interest. Because seriously, Riz in A Court of Thorn and Roses series, he is the most average love interest. Well, I know that I'm going to get so many haters, but you know what? Come for me. What are you going to do? But yes, he's better than Tamlin, but he is at least Tamlin is at least not basic. That's all I'm saying. Riss is so basic. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with Riss. I'm like, that's literally every single love interest in the 21st century. Like, I swear. I'm willing to die on that hill. And that's why I freaking love the prince. And I'm so glad, at least in Bridgerton, they're not doing him dirty like they do every other time. And I'm so sick of it. But yeah, the prince is so cute and I love him and he's just delightful. And I love how, well, it was also funny how the Duke and Daphne are just like standing like sports commentators on the flirting that Cressida is doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Also,
Like,
Cressida's hair, like the elaborate braided hairstyles, like it just kind of reminds me of the Ice Queen in the Chronicles of Narnia movie.
yeah, it is very
Like
much that. That's a good callback, actually.
Girly is girlying and she is frantically trying to get the prince's attention. She's doing all the
Oh,
tricks in
yeah.
the book. She
Oh, yeah.
is curtsying and raising her fan just below her bosom
Dropping
and
her
then
fan.
gently making eye contact so he has to bend down and pick it up. And Simon and Daphne are watching this.
Yeah, and you can also see the queen. I freaking love the queen in this scene. She was just rolling her eyes so
Mm-hmm.
far back her head. I thought she was gonna like pass out. Like it was pretty funny. But then the prince
Mm-hmm.
comes over to Daphne, and this was also just such a funny because they had just been talking about like I'm sure he's gonna tell every single girl in this room that their dress is exquisite or so beautiful. And what does the prince do? Well, he walks over to Daphne and he says, "Your gown is exquisite." That is a really bad German accent. I apologize.
Your gown is exquisite.
Your gown is exquisite. Yeah? And Daphne just about dies. And like
She
starts
snorts.
laughing. She's snorting. She is losing
And
her marbles.
The snort she snorted was the snort she snorted was audible to everybody there.
Yes. And she says, "Oh, I apologize." And the prince, our sweet little prince, is like, "No apology necessary." Why is he French? How do you say? No apology.
No apology necessary, mon chéri.
Stop! Ew. Gross. I don't know how to say it in a German accent. What's going on? What does he
No
say?
apology necessary.
No apology necessary.
We
I
have to
just
cut
turned
that
into
out.
the
That
Swede.
Mine accidentally came out almost Indian. I'm gonna get canceled. I just suck at accents. I'm not trying to be offensive.
I'm just gonna do the
Except
prince
for the
from
French
now
one.
on.
The French deserve it.
The prince from now on is the Swede from Our Flag Means Death. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
No
you do
apologies
that.
necessary.
The teeth don't go back here.
Your gown is exquisite. You see things in me that other people don't see. No apology necessary. But then the queen says, sorry, but this was so funny. Maybe a little one.
Yeah. That was iconic.
And also, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
the same evening, we get like a little peek into the Madame Delacroix, the seamstress, who turns out, boom, 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 it's not French, but from like Cockney somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking to the opera singer. It was like a doon doon doon
Yes.
moment. And part of me was just like, you know what? I want these two to be lesbos. That's all I'm going to say. That would be super hot.
I kind of vibe for that. I like the idea of one of the girls having her own business and providing for herself, and then the other girl kind of like sort of fleecing a man for his money, and then they come home and live a luxurious lifestyle.
Exactly.
Together.
That's all I want. She's just
They're both working
scamming
women.
Anthony. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
that's so hot. I want to read fan fiction about them. I'm not gonna write fan
Mm-hmm.
fiction. I don't have time for that. But like,
Oh man.
dear listeners, please. But also it's really funny because they're both roasting Cressida Cowper for
Mm-hmm.
her interesting dress choices, which I found pretty funny
Yeah.
too. Like, golly. But yeah, anyways, I just hope that those two are happy. I want them to, just have a little bit of romantic intrigue and be like, at least, I don't know. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I like that combination, and sorry for spoilers, but I don't feel like we get any more of that in the rest of the series.
Yeah, which I think is a shame.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how much you watched yet, but
So Sienna is obviously trying to figure out what to do now that Anthony has left, even though Anthony promised her protection and stability. So she's
yeah.
decided that she doesn't want to be stuck with a guy who is just going to run off whenever his mother and sisters need something. So she wants to find somebody kind of
Honestly,
without those attachments. Obviously,
mm,
she's hinting at perhaps Simon, which going back to our episode from yesterday, or not yesterday, our episode from last time, I thought that Simon had hooked up with Sienna based on this one scene that we saw from him in the
oh,
beginning. Based on this conversation, this shows that I was wrong. So if anybody in episode 2 listens and is like, actually,
actually,
I
I
know,
don't think we
I
mentioned that. I
I
don't
repent.
remember at least talking about
I
it.
think I remember bringing it up, so I just
Well,
want to
they
say
were
it. But
gonna. She was trying to hook up with him,
yes.
but they never actually did because he never showed up.
Mm.
Well,
Anyway, so
I mean, all I want now is them to hook up.
mhm.
Mm.
I have a thought on characters like Sienna. I feel like we run into this trope a lot in romance where there is sort of a less moral woman compared to the main character
Yeah.
that is sort of pushed as a threat to her, to her connection with the main love interest.
Yeah.
But rather than, viewing Sienna as like a genuine enemy, she, I feel like if I were to watch this 10 years ago, I would despise Sienna and I would think she was the worst. Whereas I'm watching this now and I'm like, she's a woman who had her own situation to deal with and she is trying her best. She's not doing this to willfully attack Daphne in any way or
No.
do something like that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she and her friend are gossiping about some of the women in society and the life that debutantes have.
Yeah, and we established that in the last episode as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what women do.
Yeah,
Like we talk, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
yeah.
Like yes, it can be a bad thing, but I don't feel like it necessarily is.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk about. This is gonna sound so bad, but we talk about our friends. We need a space to like.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that these are friends because they're on very different levels. Like this is like someone who is working for them rather, and that's even more. Like
Mm-hmm.
I rant about my boss. Like okay, no, I love my boss, but like.
We
Yeah,
rant about
I've
our
ranted
jobs.
about bosses previously. Yeah, and you rant about your job too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of healthy. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, if I feel like if you didn't have as maybe as mature you would maybe I don't know. Like I feel like she's pretty good. I love that there are like not necessarily strictly bad women in this show. There are of course strictly bad
Absolutely.
men. I mean, no, there was a
Mm-hmm.
bad woman. It was Lord Eubrook's mother. Blech. She was no, she was just
Oh
creepy.
yeah.
Anyways, we're back at
Yeah.
the party. The men are rolling dice, and Lord Featherington is losing money. It's bleeding out of him. Anthony and the Duke are being
Mm-hmm.
really sus of each other. It's like, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Brr, 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 brr. And then women comes in. Ladies are beautiful in kind of weird looking late Victorian dresses. That's what I thought.
Yeah, you can tell the women aren't virtuous because they're wearing jewel tones
Does that mean that Lady
compared to all the
Danbury
pastels
is
of a dead. Well, Lady Danbury, it's not that she's
Can you
not.
imagine her coming in there as well, along with the ladies of the night?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I bet Lady Danbury could get it if she wanted to, but I feel like the more demure women of the series, they tend to sort of like hide in pastels a bit, whereas the women who are very much more outspoken
Yeah.
tend to wear more jewel tones.
Yeah,
So
actually,
it's an
that's
interesting
a very true thing.
contrast.
Except for the Queen, because the Queen just wear what the heck ever she wants, and I love her.
Yeah, the
Oh,
queen's
she's the
not
best.
limited to
Yeah.
the tone
Color.
aesthetic.
But yeah, and the
Mhm.
ladies comes in, and Sienna is talking to another man, and you can just see like, he's doing such a good job, Jonathan Bailey, because you can see him like losing his mind without saying a single word. And then the opera singer approaches the Duke and talks to him. That was like that entire scene. And then back to Daphne. She's tossing and turning in her bed. Someone give her a melatonin, please.
It'd be like that sometime. But they don't have melatonin in Regency era England, so the next best thing is a cup of warm milk.
Which is like the funny, like that is one of my favorite scenes in Bridgerton. It's just like Anthony and Daphne in the kitchen. And I'm just, must say, like, I'm so grateful they didn't wake the servants. Because I'm sure that they're
was
just
very
like,
nice.
yeah, that's what I'm like, thank you for not doing that. I also, like, it cuts to them standing in front of the stove and neither of them knowing how to do it. It's just this, like, so
they're
funny.
They're like, cold milk it is.
Cold milk it is. I do find it a bit unrealistic that Anthony wouldn't know how to start a fire, considering at Eton, it was like, as far as I've read, it was kind of like a thing you had to learn because you didn't have that kind of waiting staff. You would have dorm masters, but you wouldn't have, I don't know, it just seemed a little bit unrealistic, but for the comic effect, it works, and I think it's hilarious. But yeah, and they're talking about the Duke, and I'm just like a bit like, how has Anthony known him for 20 years? Because that's what they say.
That does seem odd. I don't know.
15 years, yes.
How that all works.
Considering, like, they would have started at Eton at 10 years old, which would make them, if so, 30, but I don't think Anthony is 30. I think he's, like...
I don't think so either.
Mid-late 20s.
Is the Duke older than Anthony?
No, I think they're the same age, because they've been together the whole time. But again, they could have just been King's Scholars. I don't know. Again, we can't look up the records.
But... basically, Daphne is prodding Anthony and kind of asking for some more insight into Simon's character because she feels like he keeps his cards very close to his chest.
Yeah. And she's obviously very curious why Anthony is like so opposed to this match, even if there is no match, but still, if there were. We're just like, you know, I don't know, like the romantic era and men, like they went a little bit insane. A recommendation to you all, on dear listeners, is Cass Rowe. I adore Cass Rowe with my whole life, and their videos just speaks to my soul, and they just released a video yesterday as of the recording of this podcast about Lord Byron. It's like a 52-minute video essay on Lord Byron, which makes me question everything about Regency men, and I think they're kind of disgusting.
Oh my gosh. Did you know that Lord Byron would put curlers in his hair before bed? Not like plastic curlers, obviously, but like, you know, use the fabric curls. So it makes me wonder, at the rate that Lord Byron was hooking up with people, do the curlers stay on?
100%. I think that was part of the appeal. Although, honestly, I could see how that would be a part of the appeal, because a man who cares for himself, obviously, like, self-care was very different in the 19th century, and I like to believe that men took better care of themselves than they do maybe today.
Yeah, because I think it'd be I can't decide which would be more funny, like having him just walk into the room with the curlers in, or afterwards when you're like cuddled up together or whatnot, and he like slips through and is like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm just gonna go real quick. I'm just gonna call for my servant. All right, you be good. All right, bye.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. See ya. Which would make sense for Byron, because he was a hypersexual person, right? And he wasn't necessarily interested in actual relationships other than like with his family, which is freaking weird. Anyways, Byron is a complicated human being, and I thoroughly enjoyed that YouTube video. Yeah. Thank you, Cass Rowe. I am a stan.
Yeah.
Please make merch so I can put it on my computer.
I did a podcast episode on Byron like forever ago, back in like 2020, when I was doing my own podcast in my closet at home. Yeah. Interesting guy.
He is.
Always be plugging.
Anyways, yes. So we're actually, the next day, we're going to a new wing at Somerset House, where I have gone ice skating with our mutual friend Amelia, and the funniest gif in the entire world was created that day, because I approached her
Although
from the back and scared the bejesus out of her as she was taking a selfie.
it's
Anyways,
hilarious though because they say, "Oh, it's Somerset House," and then proceed to show us the Queen's house at Greenwich. Which, to be fair, Somerset House is located like right next to Covent Garden. There's no way. I pass by
oh yeah,
Somerset House all the time at work, and so I'm just like,
yeah.
nice try.
It's like, no, but could you imagine if they tried to record Bridgerton, like anything by, yeah, no, it wouldn't work.
In the
I
city
mean,
center,
potentially
no.
like the courtyard at Somerset House, because I don't think it's that, like, it wouldn't be too much to close it off because I don't know how many tourists actually go there per day, but it doesn't seem like there
But
would be too many.
it's still quite busy.
I
Yeah,
feel like they could have
but
used a courtyard. But oh my gosh,
maybe.
we're seeing Marina get ready, and she is wearing a busk, which I got really excited about. Caylyn, do you know what a busk is?
I do indeed, but tell the viewers.
Okay. The listeners. Yes, a busk is
Oh,
a
listeners.
like kind of like a wooden thing that goes in between your titties to separate them in your corset. And I'm a little bit obsessed with busks because it's like apparently this was a thing they did in the romantic era when women would wear busks because there was a fashion to separate your boobs. I don't really know why. I don't know if it was that they wanted them to appear smaller. Really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I probably should read up more on that. But specifically the busks, that was actually, did you know this, Caylyn, that it was a popular gift from men to women?
Really? Interesting. That
Yeah.
seems very
So
intimate.
mm-hmm. It did. No, that's the point. And, people are like, oh my gosh, people were so virtuous and everything. I'm like, my dude, no, they were not. This is
No.
just something we've made up about history. But basically, the busk
Mm-hmm.
was like, he would sometimes write like personalized messages on the busk and like carve it into the busk. And then the woman would wear it so it would be closest
Ooh.
to her heart and her bosom, which is so
Ooh.
hot in my opinion. But anyway,
I like that. Ooh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it pretty far down like courtship. Like there's so many like love language things and like courtship gifts you could give in the Regency era because it was
Mm-hmm.
really popular. It was like everyone out of a sudden had the love language of gift giving. That was like one of the things that was pretty popular when you were far down the line of courtship was to give a busk, which again is just a little piece of
Very
wood that you
nice.
put in between your boobies. Which I think is really cute. Another thing that's very cute is Prince Frederick. Ah, yeah. He's so heckin' cute. And Miss Cowper is being so rude, and I just need to give her a nickname. What's her new nickname, Caylyn?
I feel like we're so close to what it can be. Cowper.
I wrote Miss
Not
Panties in
creative
a
enough. I don't.
Twist.
Karen. I don't know.
Miss Karen.
Just
uh,
Miss Karen.
Miss KK. Miss Karen Cowper. Miss KK.
Oh gosh, no. Don't give her my nickname.
Oh, yeah, that's your nickname. Fetch.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Miss
not ideal.
Violet has moved on from from setting up Daphne to set up Anthony. She's just like, here's a list of women, deal with it. And
Yeah,
Anthony's just
these
not
are all the people
having
who are
it.
accomplished.
No.
Yeah.
It is so funny because
So
then Anthony, when he's clearly not giving a damn about this, and he just walks off,
Mhm.
Violet just looks at her other two sons and they're like, well? And they're like, nope, 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 and runs off.
Yeah. What I love is, speaking of the other sons, we get another Benedict scene, which is great.
Yes.
And Lady Danbury also, is, looking at this painting with Benedict and asks Benedict what he thinks about it. And he is not giving it a very favorable review. But plot twist,
No.
Lady Danbury has the artist standing right next to her.
I loved that.
And asks the artist why he painted it like that. And Benedict is mortified.
Yeah, like, it was so funny because, like, even before, like, as they're standing looking at the painting, you just see this, like, man sidestepping up to them. It was like,
Mhm.
heel toe, do-si-do, and up to Benedict Bridgerton. And the Benedict is like, where's the life? Like, why is it so dark? Like, meh. And it's like, perhaps we should ask the artist, Mr. Granville. And all I could think was like, Benedict, please roast me anytime, any day.
Yeah, that part was iconic.
It's like such a burn.
But
I love Lady Danbury.
hmm And she knew what she was doing. She enjoyed every bit of
Oh
that. She
yeah.
ate that up.
No, that's like what's funny in the books. Okay, so I don't really like the books. This has been established. But what I do love about the book is Lady Danbury, because she's like a recurring character, and she's just really there for the laughs and to torture the Bridgerton men, which, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
She's the best, and I'm so glad that they're building her more in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, Prince McPrince wanted to see Daphne, and he is very smooth about it. And he says, the art isn't the only thing that's beautiful.
I'm not gonna lie, that line has worked on me.
Yeah, no, it would work on me too. I'd be such a simp. But Daphne doesn't notice because there's a duke walking in the background, and Daphne can't keep her eyes off him. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? There's a cute little curly-haired duke being like, you're the most beautiful thing here. And I'm like,
curly-haired prince, like, and a literal Prince Charming is right there.
Yeah,
charming
a little
you.
Prince Charming. Oh,
and he's being genuine.
He is. He's so cute. And there you have the Duke, like, walking in the distance. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. Bye. So she goes and she's alone with the art, with the Duke in a room. And I'm like, that's kind of spicy. And now all I want to do is to go on a museum date and just, like, be spicy. Not be spicy, that sounds bad. But be kind of,
But, like,
I don't know.
do as Daphne and Simon too, where you analyze a beautiful painting together as your fingertips drift closer
Yeah.
and closer until
And
your
your fingertips are, like,
just
almost
delicately
touching.
holding
They're
hands.
almost touching. Ah!
But then there are a series of gasps.
There's a bunch of gasps, and Miss Pandy's in a twist of fainted.
She has feigned swooning, and Prince Friedrich has caught her. It is a romantic sight.
I can't believe you fainted.
To some.
And it's also,
I hope you are okay.
I hope you're okay. We love
There we
Prince
go.
Frederick, if you can't tell here. And also my question, just like to the universe, why is Cressida Cooper wearing a freaking Cowper, not Cooper, wearing a basket on her head?
Yes! It's like a basket woven out of her own hair.
It's impressive.
It's weird.
It's really impressive. Like, the wig work and everything is super impressive, but also it's so ugly.
It really
But I
is.
also really want to do it.
Do you ever see someone put in a big amount of work into something, you see the final product, and you're like, that's what you worked for? That's what you put that time and energy into? That's unfortunate.
This is what it's going to sound like when people read my novel. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was funny. And honestly, I kind of want to try making it, but I don't have long enough hair. So hi, Caylyn. You have long hair.
Okay.
Would you like a basket on your head?
I guess. How much shampoo am I going to use this time? I just finished getting out all the tangles from that high roll from the ball. I am surprised I still have hair left.
Honestly, that was me this weekend when I was going to do karaoke. I had so much hairspray, and I had to use Got2b Glued as well, which is, like, so bad for your hair. My goodness, I did dear listeners.
Someone on our video from the ball commented, the one lock of brown hair like on your shoulder is really interesting. What's the historical significance of that? What does it mean? And I was like, it means that I ran out of dry shampoo.
Yeah, I was laughing at that too. Oh, y'all should have seen us in this little hostel room just getting ready. There was like a bunch of French girls that were really intrigued of what we were doing. They were very confused by me, sweet. Who was like really looking like a man in an all-women's dorm. But hey.
Someone else also commented, you guys should have used accents. And I was like, we did. They were just our own.
Yeah. Dude, I was already making I was making a fool of myself already. I was not ready to do an accent as well. Well, Duke, he's going straight home. He's not seeing the opera singer, and I was like, you go, boy, good for you. You may have a lot of sexual tension remaining, but, like, good for you. After that hand touching, holy cow.
Yeah.
And the queen is pissed off about Cressida and the prince, and she wants the prince and Daphne to get married. And I just love this freaking quote she says. She's like, "You're a prince, show her." Just like, yes. Honestly, he's just so charming. He
And
literally
yeah.
said to Daphne, sorry, but Daphne's such an ass because he's like, the art isn't the only thing that's beautiful. Like, that's so cute. He's trying. But then again, like, how
He
much
is.
are you gonna keep trying if like you're not getting any introspect? So like I totally get it. Like, yes, Daphne is the hottest bee there,
Mm-hmm.
but like you gotta give up at some point, you know?
Absolutely. Because I was gonna say, like, I know she's kind of having her moment, kind of rejecting all of these people and stuff, but like, you do kind of have to get it together at some point. But
Yeah,
that's a
seriously.
time for a bit later.
Yeah. Well, Benedict is sexily sitting in a chair throwing sketches of hands in a bin, and I just want to be the hand that he throws in the bin. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like, we love a tortured artist. Or the concept of
We
one,
do
rather
love the
than a real
torture.
one.
Like,
I don't know.
is he okay, who is the most Byronic character in Bridgerton? Speaking, we've been talking about Byron today. This is the Byron episode.
Oh, Simon.
Is it Simon?
Simon is
Because I feel it's a
Simon
little
is
bit
very
Benedict.
Byronic.
But a little bit Anthony at the same time, too.
Benedict, they all have Byronic traits, but I feel like if we're looking mostly at in terms of a Byronic hero, I think that Simon at the moment is racking up the most Byronic traits.
Yeah.
Because Simon also has the tragic backstory to go with it.
Fair. Well, Daphne, she's struggling with the music piece, and Daphne's frustrated because Eloise doesn't know what it's like to be sexually frustrated. Which is, like, all I'm saying. I feel like that's what this is about. And we get out to the rough streets of London. I mean, Harrow. I thought I was funny yesterday when I wrote that. It is filthy, and it's shot in this gray-blue scale, so I'm like, it's Harrow. I don't even know whether this is supposed to... Is it, like, Sheepside, or what? Where is this supposed to be?
Yeah, Cheapside. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. And
Cheapside, presumably East London or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or Harrow. We never know. Sorry, it's because my dear friend Caylyn lives in Harrow, and I love to make fun of it now, because, I don't know. What else
Don't dox me.
Mrs. Featherington wants to show Marina what awaits her. And I must say that Mrs. Featherington looks so cool in the blue, like, cape she's wearing. She looks exquisite. But I must say that Marina's cape she's wearing looks so cheap. I was like, you are.
But yeah, so Marina says that all she sees around her are honest, hardworking people.
Yeah, but it's like, she has still grown up with, like, a certain level of wealth. But, you know, and Mrs. Featherington is making a point where it's like, do you really want to put your child through this? You know? It's like, you gotta stop thinking about yourself. And start thinking about it. Which is, like, honestly, fair enough. Like, yeah, that is a B comment to make, but it's also true. You know, she's been read for filth, is all I'm saying. But then we're back in the park, and the prince is looking at Daphne, and he says, wowee, or wowee. And Anthony was a prankster, we learned, which, like, no one is surprised.
That makes sense.
And Daphne's like, you should marry your best friend, haha. Oh my gosh, that line pissed me off, because you know those videos that are like me when my best friend said they married their best friend at the reception and they're dancing angrily, like that's me.
Oh yeah, those are so funny.
That's like, when you marry your best friend, I'm like, no, your husband and your best friend is two different things. Sorry, not sorry. That's my hot take. Well, I've had a lot of hot takes, but that's one of them. There's a difference. Honestly, yes, I wrote here, this is actually funny. You marry your best friend, haha. Videos of me being pissed off that they married their best friend, Anthony Bridgerton at the reception.
Aggressively, like, you know, angrily dancing to the Cupid shuffle.
In a minuet, just like staring at them like, you bitch.
Can you just angrily doing a quadrille or something, just imagine.
Girl, we're making that as a TikTok, all I'm saying. I'll get a brown wig and pretend to be Anthony Bridgerton.
When thine closest friend proclaims that his bride beeth his closest friend. We need to do this with every TikTok trend now. Yes. I passeth I passeth the parchment to he who hath too many drinks tonight. I passeth the parchment to he who is a rape. I'm actually, yeah. Oh my gosh, we should do period drama Am I the A-hole posts. I, male, 27, and my betrothed, female, 17.
Dear listeners, y'all have a lot to look forward to is all I'm saying.
We're gonna be content machines.
We're gonna be content machines. Yep. But yeah, sorry, they're talking back to masturbation podcast. I mean, what? We're talking about physical things that a couple is doing together. Wow. It's so discreet
and
yet not
Daphne
discreet.
Is confusion.
Daphne is confusion. And why are you talking to a single man about this is all I'm saying. I mean, okay, obviously he's been around kind of thing, but still, like, I feel like a single man wouldn't really know, like, the bond between a husband and wife in the same, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but, you know.
Maybe it's something that she doesn't feel like she can go to her mom about.
Yeah, oh, no. Violet is probably terrible. Well, I know that she's terrible about
Anthony would shut that conversation down right away. I feel like Anthony wouldn't talk to Daphne about that. So, in a way, like, you know, she's getting closer with Simon. The conversation's kind of naturally drifting that way, probably because her head has been drifting that way. And
yeah,
it happens. And so Simon is trying to elaborate on it.
He
in
a not a very
possible.
discreet way either, which I think is kind of funny. Like, I did write. She's like, he says, when you are alone, when you touch yourself, and all I could think was like, cue the music to I touch myself. Do you know that song?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but it was sung at the karaoke, and I surprisingly knew all the lyrics, but now I can't remember anything. But that's pretty much it. We need to do an edit of that for the media. But Daphne is agog and aghast when it's being described to her. She's like, oh my gosh. It makes sense.
So she ponders on that.
She does.
And on the way home, Lady Danbury eventually tells Simon that he needs to stop toying with Daphne.
Yeah.
And that he needs to either propose or let Daphne be free because she has the chance of getting with the prince.
Yeah. No, seriously. And I think it's so funny. Like, I wrote in my notes, like, Lady Danbury beating up the Duke by the Royal Crescent in a carriage. If that doesn't perfectly set the scene. Like, and a quote that she said that, like, if you are dallying with her, I will smite you. I taught you better than that. Which is like, yes, Lady Danbury. Go get him. And anyways, next to the, like, actually hottest scene in the whole episode, which is Eloise smoking it up, and sexy open waistcoat Benedict shows up.
Ooh, never underestimate the power of an open waistcoat.
Oh my gosh. That scene is the definition of a slutty little waistcoat.
Oh my gosh, it is, yes.
Like that? Okay. So the sexiest scenes in Bridgerton season 1 has been, number 1, the slutty little waistcoat. Number 2, Anthony's shoulder seam. And number 3, the glove being taken off in the beginning of this episode.
Yes. It's so funny. We are licking the plate of all of its crumbs right now. There's not anything on the plate but crumbs, and we're like, yes, this is fine dining.
Yes, this is Michelin level crumbs.
So Eloise is telling Benedict that she found some of his drawings in the fire. And if he is so interested in drawing that he should get a tutor and improve on the skill, because as a man, he has the freedom to pursue it.
Which is, again, like, you know, Eloise is good, but she's also just really annoying because she's such a pick-me girl. And I feel like it's not necessarily realistic that a woman like her could get tutoring with writing even. Like, I feel like that would be a thing. Like, you would have a governess for that. And you would also have, like, if you wanted to learn how to paint, Eloise, you could learn how to paint. So, the actress is doing a good job, obviously, but, like, it's just really frustrating because it's just, like, we're adding ideas of what it would have been like when it not necessarily, like, yes, he has opportunities to go to universities,
it is difficult for female artists and female authors,
Yeah.
especially in this time, but it's not unheard of. There have been female artists and authors throughout history.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I'm also thinking, like, what hobbies does Eloise have so far that we know?
They're indicating very much that she is interested in writing. She talks a lot about writing in her diaries. She's seen with books a lot because, she's a smart girl. And, that's what they're trying to read. Anytime we get a character who's kind of like got the main character.
Well, we never actually seen her write.
She reads books.
That's the thing. Like, we never seen her write.
Well, we don't see her, but she talks about her diaries. She talks all the time about how writing in her diaries. And it's led into this conversation with Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
With Benedict asking if she's Lady Whistledown.
Yeah, which honestly, like, I a little bit believed she could have been Lady Whistledown the first time I watched this. I don't know. Do you know who Lady Whistledown is?
I have a suspicion. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to say anything just in case I am wrong, because I don't think Eloise, if Eloise being baffled by aspects of society the way she is, I don't think she could be Lady Whistledown.
Yeah, no. And she's too excited about Lady Whistledown too, which was why I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like, okay, as someone who has read, last year I read 80 books. This year my goal is to read 100 books, and I'm at 42, just saying, everybody. I feel like reading books is not necessarily a hobby, and it's not something you're necessarily skilled at. Sorry, she just annoys me terribly, but I did enjoy this scene, mostly because of Benedict's slutty little waistcoat, and I really didn't listen to anything else that was said in this scene.
That's fair. What do you do successfully? Quickly.
What do you do successfully? Quickly. I love Bianca Del Rio. Oh my gosh.
I was like waiting for that phrase, or like waiting for like a pause in the conversation, so I'd be like, I need to insert this quote.
Seriously, that's me with Eloise.
Anyway.
What do you do successfully? Quickly. Oh yes, and we're at Daphne's nightstand, and can I just say that the brush and mirror kit that she had was much sexier than the masturbation scene. I would roasted more if I hadn't read. I would roast her so much more if I hadn't read what I had read the other day. I read such a good... Okay, the novel itself kind of sucked, but the spice was peak. Like, the thing is, I've read ACOTAR, and I was just like, this is... okay, whatever. Like, I never really feel... I don't know what that says about me. I read a lot. But this book, like, the people were just, like, insinuating that they were about to kiss kind of thing, and that was super mega hot for some reason. It was just like how she wrote it, and I'm like, dang, that's hot. So really I shouldn't be judging too much like what she is getting off on. But still, I thought it was like the most mundane things, which is like fair enough, but still.
Well, I mean, think about the things that you found attractive when you were first kind of like, experiencing your sexual awakening. Like, I thought the idea of a guy tucking, like, a piece of hair behind my ear, like, that was, like, the peak of what I wanted as a kid. I was like, there will be no greater romantic gesture than that. Yes.
Oh, well.
And then it happened, and I was like, you're touching my face.
Fair. Oh, well. Well, anyways, but yeah, again, I shouldn't say anything because I was also just like head over heels in love with the story of this book that I was reading. Oh, no, the story sucked, but the quote-unquote spice that wasn't really spice in comparison to a lot of other things I've read. But it's just the author did a really good job. Anyhoosers, but it's also just like the funniest thing because we've had like a thing going throughout this entire episode of Daphne trying to finish this piece that she's playing on the piano, and this just cracked me up. And it's just so funny because the whole family is sitting in the living room in the parlor as she's finishing the piece, and it's like right after she had an orgasm with her masturbating, and Violet just goes, "You finished? How lovely!" And I just wrote in my notes.
It's like how in old movies. It's like how in old movies when a scene would get steamy, and then it just cuts like a train going through a tunnel.
Oh, I wrote in my notes here, post-nut clarity.
Imagine it being so good you write like a whole sonata afterwards.
No, that's literally what happened in this episode.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
yeah, so she is
anyways.
thinking of Simon the entire time. After she's written her little sonata, she is so excited to see Simon again,
Yeah.
and she's probably off to go tell him about the life-changing experience that she's just had, only to be swiftly denied.
Yes, which is like, honestly, I feel like this is the most mature thing Simon has done the entire time, but also like, my dude, you're so in love with this girl. Like, come on, dude. You were a diversion,
Yeah,
but like,
obviously.
still, like, saying that you're a diversion, like, that's just cold. And this poor girl, like, she's like
Yeah.
19, 18 years old. Like, she's probably more like 17, 18, something like that. Like, oh my gosh, it's just very sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Duke is leaving the country, and I just need to know, okay, I know this is sad, but still, where the heck is this house? It was so pretty, this historical house.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go there. As he's like just like running through it. It wasn't even a long scene. It was like a 10-second scene. He's just walking through the house telling his butler to pack things up. And I'm like, oh, I want to go there. I want to be there.
I want to go to there.
Back at the opera, and the fabric on the singer's dress is just stunning. I don't know, it obviously is not Regency. It was like some kind of plasticky fabric,
It's
but
beautiful.
it was still so pretty.
She's serving looks. She is
She
serving
is.
serving as she is lip syncing to this aria.
And she is capturing all the hearts and the eyes of the entire audience. But hey, no, it was nice. And then Anthony, he's just brooding. He's just so mad. And he's like, and I love, honestly, that scene was really good. Like, both those actors did such a good job. She says, like, my favorite quote from there is, what is the Viscount Bridgerton seeking to escape tonight? Which is just like, yes, queen. Anthony is so toxic and gaslighting her, but she's just not having it, and she's pushing him off when he's trying to kiss her, and I'm just like, yes, your position has not changed.
Yes.
Neither has mine. I cannot be your fool again. Yes.
Good for her.
Well, we have CGI London. Penelope is eagerly awaiting mail. A letter arrives. What is it?
It's a letter for Marina from George.
And it is a letter from Spain without the S, because... Thanks, I knew you'd like that one.
It's a letter from Spain without the A.
With the... What?
A letter from Spain without the A. It's from Spin.
Oh.
A letter from Spin.
No.
Sorry, I love making fun of that, where I just, like, take out random letters and they're just like, what does that mean?
Well, it's a painful letter.
But,
it's George rejecting her. An actress is just eating this up. Like, the guttural scream, her eyes, the crying. Like, she is eating this. And then we see, like, in the other room across the house, we see Mrs. F forge the letter with her lady's maid. And it's just so messed up. Like, I understand why she would do it, because she needs Marina to, like, saddle up and, like, actually put effort into finding a match. But like, still, my goodness. That's so dark.
No, it is devastating. And it's hard, too, because there's an interesting conversation between Lady Featherington and her lady's maid, where they say, like, what if the boy comes back? And she's like, he's not going to be coming back.
Yeah. No, it's messed up.
I have a feeling that'll come back later.
You'll see. Well, Daphne is also in the depths of despair at the Modiste. Like, she's just looking, like, dead behind the eyes as she's getting a new dress fit for her. And Cressida Cooper comes in, and it's so funny because her mom is like, yeah, my daughter has no chance against your daughter because yours is so pretty. Like, we have money, but, like, you're pretty. Like, you're so pretty. And Daphne looks like she is about to have a slap down. She has new determination. She is so gonna go for a prince. Like, this is not ever communicated. Like, actually, but we know exactly what she's thinking. And I must say, like, go actress and the director and everyone who's responsible for that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes. And again, Violet goes into Anthony's study, and she's trying to set Anthony up, and he's just not having it. Time is of the essence. You know, have a whole, like, conversation about the clock, yada yada. And the little bookmark thing that the clock is attached to, is it called a chatelaine? I'm not sure. I think it might be a chatelaine with that the clock is attached to, but that was also just kind of hot. So that was what I was looking at. Hi.
Yeah.
And we're at the ball. Cressida is wearing a hair crown on her head, which is just simply too much.
But the good thing is, Cressida's hair crown has another thing coming because Daphne has her it girl moment walking
Oh
down the stairs.
my gosh, I'm
And she's making a
obsessed.
grand entrance in a
She's
white
eating it
dress
up.
at the ball. Which it's gorgeous, but at the same time, I was also kind of expecting like a really dramatic kind of change to her look because she was making it sound like this was her big entrance. She kind of looked the same. She looked good, but she kind of
I
looked the
feel
same.
no, I feel like they added so much more crystals, and she like the fabric itself was shining, which
Yeah.
I don't feel is necessarily very
Her hair was
Bridgerton of
different,
her.
but yeah, I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more pomp and circumstance.
Okay, we're completely different there because I was all over it. Like, Daphne makes an entrance, she's looking stunning, she's literally shining. I feel like she's Diana in her revenge dress, even though she's holding an 8-pound fan of Amazon, like, it's working overtime. And she's, like, the way she's gliding,
Mm-hmm.
how it was shot down the stairs, the dresses sparkles, everybody turns around. I'm like, oh! And the prince, you can just tell that he's just claiming her, and it's kind of hot.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, there's such a match because they're both wearing silver and silver, which I really noticed, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
why she wore those colors, was to make them like a pair, like a
Yeah, it must
match.
be.
So she must have kept, because he's only wearing his
Mm-hmm.
Prussian uniform the entire episode. Well, every single time we see him.
That's true.
So she must have had that in mind, that she was like, I'm gonna match him. Like, I'm gonna be the natural pairing to this
Mm-hmm.
man, which is just like so hot in my opinion because I love matchy. It's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I must simply have your first dance. No, I must simply have your first dance.
Mm-hmm.
And she drops the 8-pound fan on the floor, and the Duke is so not impressed from across the room. He's just like, oh, he's so mad. And the prince is kneeling in front of
Mm-hmm.
her. I am. Anyways, so that's what I saw. You were like, she looks normal.
It's I just didn't feel like it was as drastic of a change for like
I feel like it's her demeanor though.
I mean her demeanor very obviously changes,
And she does this
but
so well. Like, oh man.
I just I was expecting a bit more. I don't know, but my expectations probably don't match the Bridgerton aesthetic. So,
I thought it was really odd. But then again, like, you can't do too much with Regency because Regency is such a bland fashion era. So it's like, honestly, what they
that's
did
true.
was really good. And I was like, oh my gosh. Anyways, the queen
I
is,
just maybe even just a touch more rouge, I think probably would have done it
well,
for me.
well, yeah. I mean, the queen is super impressed. And she's wearing a beautiful
Mhm.
lilac wig, which I was just all over. Violet, on the other hand, is not
I loved
impressed.
that.
The Duke is literally tongue-tied. Like, he doesn't know what to say. And I'm just like, yeah, that serves you right.
Mhm.
And then the dancing is not any dancing. It's literally neck-touching dance, which I'm all here for.
Yeah.
And Daphne is 100% traded
Mhm.
up.
Very intimate.
The Duke leaves. And then Lady Whistledown says, why settle for a duke when one can have a prince? Which is like, me. Seriously. Hi. That's me. If I was Daphne, I'd be all over the prince, but hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, hey, the prince is nice. He's interested, and he's a prince.
Oh yeah, and Prussia at this point, I think they're doing really well, if I don't remember wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, absolutely.
just saying. Oh well, Caylyn. How much did you drink during this episode? During a little drinking game that we have going
Well,
on?
I watched this again on my lunch break, so I didn't have the time to like kind of go through the. I think this might be something that Mags ends up doing
Well,
because
that's okay.
I just have so much going on during the time that I actually watch these. The only thing I really pay attention to that much is the Vitamin String Quartet covers. But I did drink a mango Pepsi during my lunch
Oh,
break. I was downing that
I
thing before I
freaking
had to get
love a mango Pepsi.
back on the job.
They're the
Mm-hmm.
best. Like, oh my gosh. As the count here, I had a lot of sips
Mm-hmm.
because there was a lot of male brooding, both from Anthony
Oh
and the
gosh,
Duke,
yeah.
and a little bit from Benedict too. Just like him sitting there. Oh, I just want him to
Mm-hmm.
throw me in a bin. Anyways, Lady Danbury. Lady Danbury interrupting with wisdom. Yeah, there was a bit of that. Eloise being a pick me girl. Oh yeah, she was. It was someone alluring to Lady Whistledown. 100%. Daphne was wearing 500 new dresses. Someone is naked. There was no one naked, as far as I remember in this episode. Anthony about to lose his mind. I mean, I feel like he was a bit more chill this episode. He was definitely about to lose his mind, though,
the
with
opera,
Sienna.
I feel like... Yeah.
Yeah. And the Featherington always looks outrageous. The Queen is on screen. Like, yes.
We got blessed this episode with the Queen.
It was a fair bit with her. Like, she wasn't necessarily the center of attention because you had the prince. But she was there. Like, every time Daphne wasn't with the prince was with the Queen.
Yeah, but, like, in terms of looks, she had some really great looks this episode, too. So what she didn't make up for with words, she made up for with appearance. So beautiful.
Well, I would call this, like, on this kind of scale, I would say this is, like, a good 9 out of 10, because pretty much all of them were ticked off except for someone being naked. Which, you know what, that's not bad. Good episode, very good episode. I personally enjoy this episode a whole lot. It's funny, it's dramatic.
It is.
It's a lot you could ask for, and we got to talk about busks, which is fun.
That's a good time.
Well, Caylyn, should we do the outro?
Thank you for listening to Two Girls, One Corset. If you enjoyed our podcast, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at Two Girls, One Corset for behind-the-scenes looks and updates and more period drama content.
And be sure to share the podcast with your friends who love all things romance and historical drama.
Until next time, keep your corsets tight and your heart open.
Farewell, dear listeners.
Farewell!
Farewell.